and welcome back to another episode of the Energetic Shift podcast. As always, I'm super excited about this episode. I'm going to talk about the body today and what the body is trying to tell us when it comes to our business. And that is it, like the be all and end all. That is it. That is the name of the topic, what your body, has been trying to tell you about your business. And I don't want to talk about the body from a point of view of like drink loads of water, eat loads of nutritious food, strength train, all of that sort of stuff, or exercise. I want to talk about it from like the signs, the signals, the intuition, and the feelings our body is giving us that actually is telling us something. And you know what? Most of us are completely and utterly ignoring it. We're walking around with our head in the clouds going la 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 la, I can't bloody hear you, while down in our third coffee and wondering why everything feels so bloody hard. So I want to start with the biggest symptom that crops up for us, especially for us in business. We'll hear this word used quite often, and that's burnout, right? And not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily show up as the can't get out of bed, everything's collapsed around me kind of, burnout. Although that does happen and is absolutely bloody horrible, by the way. But I mean that like that less version of that. And again, I don't want to, diminish it, but like, because it's still burnout. But a version that a lot of women will actually think is normal, and they're calling it normal. They're calling it like hustle, or I'm just getting my head down and hustling, etc. And it's all the time they're feeling this like low level, like underneath feeling of constant exhaustion, like not quite getting yourself to the point of rest or recovery, or, filling your cup back up, and the feeling of like being permanently switched on, but never actually fully charged, if that makes sense. So the thing where you're sleeping 8 hours on a night time, but you're waking up still feeling tired, and Sunday evenings fill you with dread, like when you used to work in a 9 to 5. And also it could be that like where you're getting things done, but there's no joy in it anymore. That's not a you problem. It's not a discipline problem, which a lot of you will absolutely think that it is. You'll think that you just need to be more disciplined, you just need to be more consistent, and just need to be, this is your body saying, wake the fuck up. Hello. Like, hi. Something is off here. And your body is wanting you to look at it and address it. And usually when I speak to women who are in this state, it's one of two things, right? It's either that they're doing too much, like genuinely running on fumes and calling it hustle, that they're just getting their head down because online business world tells them that that's admirable and that's what you want to be doing. You got to work hard, business is hard, you just got to expect it, etc, etc. Well, fucking spoiler alert, it's not something that you can wear as a badge of honor. You don't have to hustle and you don't have to exhaust yourself, right? That is not what you have to do. It doesn't have to be hard. Or and this, to be honest, is probably the thing that surprises people the most. Like, they're out of alignment. And this can also create burnout because they're doing things that don't feel right for them anymore, showing up in ways that doesn't feel like them, like they're performing, like that's exhausting. Working with clients that they've outgrown, or running versions of their business that they've moved past already, but haven't been quite brave enough for whatever reason to change that. And your body flags this way, way, way before your mind will absolutely, acknowledge it or admit it. And that exhaustion and that feeling of burnout is data. And it's telling you something. What is it telling you? That's what you've got to ask. What is this feeling telling me? What is my body telling me? Everybody's heard of the book, the Your Body Holds a Score. If you haven't, go and read it. I cannot remember the name of the author, but the title is The Body Holds a Score. So the next thing I want to talk about is intuition. How many times have you had that gut feeling about something, whether it's a client, a decision, a collaboration, an offer, and you've completely overridden it? And we know where the override comes from. And it comes from the mind, and it comes from your conditioning. It comes from your internal beliefs. But the feeling, the intuition, the nudge, the gut, just knowing is the thing that most of us are ignoring. It's that intuition. And you've had weird feelings about that client, but you took them on anyway. because you needed the money, or you didn't want to seem, picky or fussy. You felt off about that collaboration with that other business, but you said yes anyway because, on paper it looked like a great opportunity, or somebody told you to do that, or you knew that the offer that you've created wasn't quite landing right, but you launched it anyway because, you'd put all of that effort into it and you told everybody about it, and, you felt like you needed to back yourself, otherwise you'd look like you were, flaky. I want you to just ask yourself, while looking back at those examples, because I know you'll have had some or all of those happen to you, how did that go? How did it go when you forced yourself through those things and ignored your body and your sign and your intuition? I know the answer to that. I don't have to actually have you message me. I know the answer to that. What I know is when you override your gut, your body is keeping the score, right? Every single time the client with the red flag becomes the nightmare client. The collab that felt wrong becomes the one that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. The offer you weren't fully behind becomes the launch that flops. And I promise you, it's not because the universe hates you. It's because your intuition was picking up information your logical brain wasn't ready to process. And when you keep overriding it, your body starts shouting louder. Anxiety before certain calls, that sinking feeling when a specific name comes up in your inbox, dread on a Sunday night, tension in your chest, headaches, tiredness. And there's so many things out there in the world at the moment that we could actually blame that on, like anxiety disorder, perimenopause, hormones, etc. And it's not any of those. It's your body doing its job. It's trying to protect you. And the key is here, are you listening? And I say this to my clients all the time, and you'll have heard me say this on the podcast before. Get out of your head and into your body. And I promise you, everything will change from that. Some of you are going to love this bit and some of you are going to raise an eyebrow, and that's absolutely fine. It's okay. Like, your physical symptoms can actually mirror what's happening energetically in your business. Sounds super woo-woo, right? I know. Stay with me. Throat stuff, losing your voice, constant throat clearing, tension in your neck and your jaw often shows up when you're not saying what you actually need to say. When you're holding back the real opinions or dimming your voice in your content, saying the safe thing instead of the real version. Gut issues, and I swear almost every single woman I have worked with has had some sort of or form of gut issue at some point. Often these show up around like trust or self-belief, the second guessing, the not backing yourself, the decisions that don't align with what you actually know to be right, shoulders and upper back. That's usually the weight of carrying too much, trying to control every outcome. This is big for me. It's around the control situation. Like, I know this about myself, refusing to ask for help or delegate or trust. Like, these things are some of my biggest issues that I have, that I'm constantly working on. And I have neck and shoulder problems on and off all of the time. And I know this when I recognize it when it comes in now. I know that it's because I'm trying to take on everything myself. It's because I'm not asking for the help as much. And I know all of this stuff. And it's so embedded in me and my belief system and, everything that I've done in my life, that control, like I'm a self-confessed control freak, but it's not serving me. So I have to work on that. My body tells me this, my shoulders, so I have to work on this, not only from a energetic mindset point of view, I have to work on this from a physical point of view as well. And your lower back could also be support, security, money fears, feeling like the foundations aren't solid enough. I want to be very, very, very clear here. Like, I am a business coach. I'm not a doctor, although I have a few of my friends and clients that sometimes will call me Dr. Dan, because I have experienced a lot of things, not only from a physical point of view myself. I've been a mum for 20 years, which that brings in its own experience, personal experience. And I used to work in the healthcare industry. So I do have a little bit, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not suggesting that you don't need a doctor's appointment anymore. You absolutely do need to still go and see your GP if you are experiencing physical symptoms, for sure. We're not ditching GP just because fucking Mercury's in the retrograde, right? And your back pain is actually about your pricing strategy. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that it's worth asking the question alongside the doctor and the doctor's visit, right? What is my body reflecting right now? Is there something energetically? Is there something, with my mindset that I need to kind of address? Is there something in my business that's literally like I'm carrying a weight on my shoulders? Because sometimes the answer is genuinely like there, and it becomes apparent when you ask these questions. And again, we're just not taught this sort of stuff. We're not taught this in the real world. We're not taught that you can actually heal yourself without going into any sort of other woo-woo stuff, right? And I want to talk about cycles because this changed my entire relationship with how I run my business, like from the very start, right back years ago. I have been tracking pretty much everything and auditing everything for many, many years. Most of us were taught either in employment or early on in business to operate like a straight line, right? Same thing day in, day out. Consistent output, always on, or, if you weren't, something was wrong with you, or, you weren't going to succeed if you weren't going to be consistent enough, all of those things. But that's not how our bodies work. It is not how a woman's body work. And since I started working with one of my business partners, Jess, and she uses, I'm going to quote her a couple of times here as well. So Jess said to me that if there's no body, there's no business, right? That was a big key quote that she gave me early on in our friendship. And she also taught me about women's cycles and their bodies against men's bodies and how their cycle and hormones work. So for a woman, we go on a 28-day cycle, right? So we're not the same every single day. We're very different over the course of 28 days, whereas a man's hormones rise with the sun and go down with the sun. So they're the same every single day. So they're different throughout the day, but they're the same every single day. So they can operate, and this is a man's world. The whole employment system and work system is being built around a man because we didn't work years and years and years ago. Okay? So we are cyclical. Our energy, creativity, and capacity moves in waves, and fighting that is like fighting the tide. Like you literally going to just be stuck and exhausted to the point where you get exhausted. You can do it for a while, but eventually then you get wet and absolutely tired to shit. And there are times in your cycle, or if you track the moon, for example, because there's also some people, some women that don't have periods, right? So this can also, this could be you. Just because you don't have a period doesn't mean your hormones aren't cycling. And you can also track this with the moon. So I have an app called Moonly as well. So certain phases of the lunar cycle where you are absolutely on fire, magnetic, creative, high energy, ideas everywhere. That is your time to create, to show up, to launch, to have big conversations. And then there are times where you just need to go inward, right? Where your energy is naturally quieter, where pushing yourself to perform to full capacity feels like swimming through concrete, like you're in fucking quicksand. And when you try and force the fire in the quiet phase, when you're less energetic, or when you beat yourself up for not being 100% during a natural low, right, which is normal for us. We have these lows. There's nothing wrong with you if you have a low. It's just your hormones. You create that friction that literally builds up and compounds. And over time, that friction becomes burnout, resentment, and wondering why your business feels so fucking heavy. Working with your body rather than against it isn't super spiritual or woo. It's science. It's fucking intelligence, right? It's literally like fact. The more you work with yourself instead of against it, the easier your life and business becomes. And then the last thing, when did your business last actually feel like fun? Not productive, not successful, not ticking bloody boxes, fun. Like, I fucking love today. I love this. I love that. Like, it feels amazing. I feel like I'm having so much fun. So many women feel so guilty and they feel like they're not working, they're not being productive, they're not getting shit done if they're having fun. Because we're so taught not to, not to enjoy what we do, basically. But like, we're so taught that like fun or enjoyment or laughter or happiness or whatever is earned. And we have to, surely we should work hard first before we get to that point. Bullshit. What I see with so many women, especially the ones who've been in business for a few years, right, is that something along the way or somewhere along the way, the joy quietly left the fucking building. Like it didn't go all at once. It just slowly got replaced by obligation and duty and I should do this and I need to do that. Because also with building a business becomes responsibility, right? Especially if you're hiring team. and hiring staff and taking on people, and obviously the bigger your client base gets, you pull on a load of responsibility. Then you feel the guilt for, looking after yourself and taking care of you first when you've got all of these clients and all of this team, etc., and all these responsibilities, and your body feels that shift long before your brain acknowledges it. So your body is feeling that responsibility and that guilt and that obligation and that duty. The body doing work it loves feels completely different to the body grinding through work that it just tolerates. One is expansive, light, energized, fun, even on the hard days, to be fair, because we still do have hard days. And then the other is contracted, heavy, dragging, exhausting. And you can drag for a while, like a lot of women do. Like we're really fucking good at it, and this is the issue. We are so good at hustling. We're so good at ignoring ourselves. We're so good at just doing the things that need to be done that we think it's okay to keep doing it. But your body will eventually make you stop, either with illness, with burnout, and it comes from you being in dis-ease. Disease comes from your body being in dis-ease. And that will stop you in your fucking tracks. It will either shut down gradually, the tiredness with the illness, the burnout, or it will just stop you being productive. And the creativity dries up and the motivation disappears and the results drop off. You'll either end up in disease, burnout, body absolutely slacking, or things will just stop working. And it's better for you to choose the stop, better to choose the joy before your body has to do it for you. And I have, over the past few weeks, I have talked about rest and intentional rest on this podcast before. So go and find that and learn how to rest too. So practically, what am I asking you to do? I want you to start listening. So actually stop and ask your body, what is it telling you? I don't want you to look at your to-do list that's on your notes on your phone. I want you to just take a minute with yourself. Like, what is it trying to communicate with you right now? Secondly, track your cycles, energy, feelings, symptoms over the course of a month. In fact, I'd go 3 months. Over the course of 3 months, your energy, your hormones, your feelings, your symptoms, over the course of 3 months. And I want you to see if you can notice any patterns and then start building your business around them, doing certain tasks around certain hormonal, energetic symptoms, feelings, levels. And then I want you to take your gut feelings seriously. The next time your body has a strong reaction to something, like that flutter of excitement or that clench of dread, don't immediately override it with logic. Sometimes the logical brain can't make sense of it, and that's absolutely okay. Ask your body what it knows. Sit with it a second and just say, what do you know? What are you trying to tell me? And then bring joy back in. Deliberately, not for a reward because you've worked really hard this month. Like every day, now, go and do something that you fucking love that makes you happy today. Because a business you enjoy is a business you'll keep building. And my whole purpose on this earth is to teach you to build businesses that you can't wait to wake up for and work in the next day. And then rest before you're forced to. Because I promise you, you will be forced to at some point. There's a version of rest that's a choice, and there's a version of rest that's collapse. Choose the first one. And I'm going to leave you with this. Your body is the most intelligent thing in your business. It knows before your brain does. It communicates constantly, and it has been patient with you while you've been ignoring it. So it's time to start listening. The answers you're looking for, a lot of them are already in there, and I will speak to you next week.